Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome finally to the last day of OIV UI 2021 English Debate Competition. And today it's the final match. My name is Marul Farza Pasha from Tourism Class of 2020, and I will be your host and moderator throughout the competition. And now, let's welcome the players who will be participating in the final match. Our first contingent, who will also be the one to represent the government side, is Stephanie Raini Jainis, Saskia Dira, and Alicia Saimona Putri from Himadem. And on to our second contingent, will be representing the opposition side is Nadira Haidi Shani, Gania Alfinda Kalenisa, and Alia Aura Diva from Himta. Let's give them a round of applause. And we are also joined by Mr. Dedi Sandro Lubis from the Ministry of Public Works and Public Housing as the Chief Adjudicator. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Sandro.
Thank you, Marvel. Good luck for all of the participants.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sandro. And now, without further ado, let's check out the motion that will be used in today's match. The motion reads: even distribution access to a better quality of internet network throughout Indonesia is more needed than the distribution of free quotas during the current long-distance learning period. But before we begin the competition, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to read the standard of procedure of debating according to the Asian parliamentary style. To the contingents, please pay attention. First, the three speakers from each contingent will deliver a constructive speech, where each gets a speaking duration of 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Secondly, POI, or point of information, can only be done by the opposing team after the first minute until the 6th minute of their constructed speech is delivered. Signals will be informed by the timekeeper through the chat column. And now, the speaker has the right to reject or accept the POI delivered by the opponent. Next, POI shall not be given in the first minute, which is from the start to the first minute, and the last minute, which is the 6 to 7 minutes and 20 seconds. And POI must be said for a maximum of 15 seconds, and it is now not allowed to convey POI continuously with the aim of disturbing the opponent's concentration or trashing. The contingents doing the trashing will be subjected to a deduction of score. At the end of the debate, each team will deliver a response speech with a maximum duration of 4 minutes and 20 seconds. The third speaker of each contingent, namely the opposition whip and the government whip, may not deliver the reply speech. Lastly, POIs may not be stated during the reply speech. And a quick reminder for the both teams to on your cameras. And with that, let's see what the sides have to say on the motion for today. Starting with the Prime Minister of the government side, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, adjudicator, a moderator, and also the timekeeper. Thank you for the opportunity given to us today. So, but first, let me introduce our team. I'm Alicia Saimona Putri as the first speaker, and our second speaker is Saskia Dira, and the third speaker is Stephanie J. So, we, as the government team, we strongly agree that even distribution access for a better quality of internet networks throughout Indonesia is more needed than the distribution of free quotas during the current long-distance learning period. Because we all know that the COVID-19 pandemic has led to an inevitable surge in the use of digital technologies due to the social distancing norms and nationwide lockdowns. People and organizations all over Indonesia have to adjust a new ways of new work and life. We explore possible scenarios of the digital search and research issues that arise. An increase in digitalization is leading firms and educational institutions to shift to work from home. We all know that. Blockchain technology will become important and will entail research on design and regulation. Education is another domain in which there is dramatic shift to online mode to transaction. Since the beginning of the lockdown, school, college, and universities around Indonesia have to shift to an online school. Since the beginning of the lockdown, of course, school, college, and universities shift their class to video conferencing like Zoom, Google Meet, along with the synchronous and also asynchronous. Heavy use of the internet during the pandemic for various purposes has raised the people's data requirements. With a significant digital divide in societies, the surge in the internet data requirement has revived in the discussion. Then what would you do if there's no network when you need heavy use of internet? What would you gonna do with your free quota without internet network though? The regulation of internet network will become crucial after the pandemic as it will remain a policy tool of government. They can intersect the aspect of monitoring, bandwidth control, surveillance, and also intermediary liabilities. A few students have suggested access or no access period the pandemic. Almost all regions have all implemented lockdown. We'll know about that, of course. Shutting down activities that require human gathering, interaction, including college, school, malls, temples, office, airport, and also railway station. The lockdown has resulted in most people talking to the internet and internet-based service in communication, interact, and also continue with their job responsibilities from home. Internet service has seen a rise in usage from 40% to 100% compared to pre-lockdown levels. Video conference service like Zoom or even Google Meet have seen 10 times increase in usage. And the content delivery service have seen a 30% increase in content usage. That is why distribution access for a better quality of internet network throughout Indonesia is more needed than the record itself. Then, how could we use the video conference like Zoom or even Google Meet if there's no internet? How could you use the free quota without internet network? Well, I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prime Minister, for the speech. And now we can hear the opposition leader opinions. To the opposition leader, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for the time. First of all, good afternoon to the honorable educator. Good afternoon to our friend from the affirmative team, and also good afternoon for all of audience that attend here. My name is Nadira Haidisani, and here I'm gonna be a first speaker from the opposition team. Our beloved from the first speaker from the affirmative team trying to say that all of the region was locked down since at the first of the pandemic. That's why it makes also the workers sent home. In this situation, you forget that point out during this pandemic we still have to pay our full tuition fee. We study with a long distance learning period, but we still have to pay our full tuition fee. Let's say at least if we have full for that, we have to get a free quotas to online learning. Let's say in this situation, every parents have a different background. What if they were someone who had a lower class? Can you just imagine how hard they are at least for buy a quota? But in the other side, they also have to buy something else. They have to buy to something their own need, like something important than a quotas. In this urgent situation, which government have to have an action quickly and smart, also effective. If we choose internet network to be POI rejected. In this, if we choose internet network to be spread, I can say that was so hard because it's need a long-term time to spread it in the whole Indonesia territory. But in this situation, in this urgent situation, government to have an action quickly and smart, also effective. The distribution of free quotas really helps students to fulfill the online learning program. Pandemic have held most economic activity, so people come is decreased. Based of Jawa Post on September 2021, survey results say 55% of 55% calls that the free quota program was effective. It's more than a half, which means by giving the free quotas also can be one step closer to make Indonesian education be better than before. Plus, by from the data which BBC News on 2020, almost 10 million children at risk of permanent school dropout due to this COVID-19 pandemic because of they hard to getting a quota. They hard to buy a quota. Their parents hard to get a quota. The city UNESCO told that in April, 1.6 billion students was dismissed from the school university due the measure of contain the spread of COVID-19. This figure represents 90% of the entire student population in the world. Like for the first time in human history, a generation children around the world has been deprived of their education. The agency said there were a report titled "Save Our Education," quote by AFP news agency. They explained that the economic catastrophe of this crisis could push 90 until 117 million children into poverty, which has a direct impact on enrollment in school. Can you guys just imagine that how many we didn't know? There are still many doctor candidate or maybe engineers candidate who have to drop out from the school because their parents can't even buy a quotas. Because there are people from a lower class. Back again, here I'm gonna tell you guys that we are... Sorry, POI rejected. Here, we totally disagree that the distribution access to be a better quality of internet network throughout Indonesia is more needed than the distribution of free quotas during the current long-distance period. Before I end my speech, I would like to tell you guys in Indonesia proverb that have sounds like this. Sekali mendayung, dua tiga terlampaui. Which means the first thing, we can get a free quotas from the government, and the other side, our parents don't have to spend their money for a quotas, but they can use it for something else that is more important than quotas. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, opposition leader, for the speech. And now we can see the affirmative view from the Deputy Prime Minister. The time is yours.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before I jump out to my arguments, I will give my rebuttal to the first speaker of the opposition team. I'm aware that you guys point out about have to say a lot of people have to pay the full tuition money and they are still struggling about that. So there's a lot of people that need free quotas rather than to have an internet access. Do you think, I mean, are you referring that they need more free quotas than rather than have an internet access? So free quota is effective for whom? We have to know that Indonesia isn't always about Jakarta, Bandung, or Surabaya, or the other big cities that have a lot of signal, have a lot of access. But we have to aware that we have to giving the concern that Indonesia isn't always about the big cities. We have 34 provinces that we need to pay attention to. And you said that there's a lot of people that dropping out because they can buy quota. No, they dropping out because they can't even access to the internet. They can't even have signal in their home. Lucky for you, you have the internet, you have the whole magnifying the access to the internet. So ladies and gentlemen, 2 years ago, no one would expect it that we will go full online. No one would expect it studying online, shopping online, meeting friends via online. And the most important thing that we need is the even distribution access to a better quality of internet network throughout Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, like I've said earlier, we should agree that Indonesia isn't always about Jakarta, Bandung, Surabaya, or any other big cities. And for the record, I'm living in Cirebon, which is in West Java. Indonesia has 34 provinces, and unfortunately, not all of them has the excellent quality of internet networks. And that is the point that the opposition team should be giving the concern to. Why do we need free quotas if we can't even access them? So yeah, our top priority is try to make a better quality access around Indonesia, including the smallest villages that you guys probably forget about. Quoted from Tirto.id, according to BPS, the percentage of households in the cities are having a huge margins 3 times better and bigger than in the villages. Jawa has 55.7% of people that using an internet. Meanwhile, Papua, Gorontalo, and Kalimantan has the lowest people that use internet. And you guys forget about that. I probably think that I can referring that you guys only cares about the big cities in Indonesia. You guys forget to mention that how people in the smallest city in Indonesia, such as Papua, Gorontalo, Kalimantan, they can't even access the internet itself. And that is why we should distribute the better quality even more, because the internet helps our life. Like it or not, we need internet. We are living in the new normal era, and new normal have the new meanings. Like we are living in the internet, we are living in the most amazing technological, we're living in the globalization era, that we need internet. And like I said before, we need internet to shop, to communicate, and more importantly, to study. Ladies and gentlemen, the survey data from TBM Lentera Pustaka, the survey shows that 7 from 10 students around Indonesia struggle to access the internet to study. And that is, they were coming from in the 34 provinces in Indonesia. They aren't only coming from Jakarta, Bandung, or let's say, you know, the big other cities that has the amazing even distribution access to internet. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know pembelajaran jarak jauh requires access to the internet. For instance, we are doing a debate competition using Zoom. And what if I am living in the smallest villages in Indonesia? Let's say I live in Papua. How can I am attending this competition if I don't have a signal? Oh yeah, I probably have the free quota, but how can I access them if I don't have any signal there? So yeah, we need to keep our priority first, is to even distribution access signal in every places in Indonesia. Or how come I am be here if I don't have any signal? So yeah, we need a signal to access the internet. And thank God we are here. Thank God I live in Cirebon. Thank God you guys live in big cities. So you guys don't have to worry about having a signal or no. But how about people that doesn't have an access to the internet? And that is our main concern. That is our main people that we need to be care about. The world will stop, their education will stop. Their world will stop because we live with internet. Their education will stop because we all now using internet in every single day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We need internet. So ladies and gentlemen, even distribution access to a better quality of internet networks throughout Indonesia is more needed than the distribution of free quotas during a current long distance learning. According to Tirta.id, Minister of Communication and Information stated that they will build a 4G network in 12,048 villages around Indonesia. And right now, that there are only 9,113 villages that has 4G network. Access to internet plays a big role in our education, and I believe the opposition will agree with me, with us, with the government team, because it helps us to access the ebooks, because we cannot go to library. It helps us to access the Google, that where you find the information for our today's motion. It helps us to do our assignments. It helps us to study with our teacher, and it makes our life so much easier and more flexible if we have the access to the internet. If every single places in Indonesia has the best quality access and internet, we can even give a free Wi-Fi to support them pursuing their education. So yeah, we strongly believe that the access to internet should be our first top priority, because if we have the access to internet in the first place, we can give a free Wi-Fi, free quota, or even a free device to make PJJ easier for students, to be easier for them to study. Thank you.
Okay, thank you by Deputy Prime Minister for the speech, and a little bit reminder to both teams cannot reject all POIs. And now we can see the opposing views from the Deputy of Opposition Leader. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the time that given. Let me introduce myself. My name is Diva as the second speaker of the opposition team. Well, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'd like to point out about internet. Internet network is the global system of interconnected computer network that use the internet protocol to communicate between network and device. And quota is one of the elements that support how internet works. Just like we all know, from the beginning of 2020, especially in March, pandemic COVID-19 hit Indonesia. All the physical activities shall be postponed. One of it is face-to-face learning. In Indonesia, we have proverb that sound di mana bumi dipijak di situ langit dijunjung. That means we have to adapt by any circumstance and condition as fast as we can. Just by that, we disagree that internet network to be a better quality of internet network is more needed than the distribution of free quotas during the current long distance learning period. The affirmative team trying to say that free quota effective for whom? They can even access internet. Indonesia, not about Jakarta, Indonesia, not about Surabaya, Cirebon, and other big cities. Why do we need free quota if we can access it, and etc. But what you have to know is internet is already spread among Indonesia. We can look the probability between the people who have a bad signals and the people who doesn't have money to buy quotas. Well, ladies and gentlemen, since its outbreak, COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the life of people in the world, including in Indonesia. It upends global and the number of workers who were laid off. Just like as Kamar Dagang and Industri note, POI reject. Kamar Dagang and Industry note, people during this pandemic who were laid off reached 6 million. We all know we are in urgent situation lately. It means to buy quota isn't our main priority for several people. There are many things that are more important than quotas like food, accommodation, electricity, and we are trying to suffering. But the education is still have to going on. So the distribution of free quota is one of the solution. We know internet and the quota are a continuous thing that can be separated. But for now, just like my first speaker said, in this urgent situation, which government have to make an action quickly and smart also effective, the distribution of free quotas are more needed because the distribution of a better quality of internet networks take longer time. And how do we survive with that? Should we stop the online learning time, and how do we...
POI, please.
Sorry, POI reject. Free quotas on internet, we stop the online learning activities while the government trying to distribute a better internet network. In addition to that, all we have to do now is survive, and improvement to a better quality of internet network is needed too, but it wasn't our main priority. Now, again and again, I have to say that our team was totally disagree with the motion today. Thank you.
Thank you by the Deputy Opposition Leader for the speech. And now it's the turn for the government whip to express their opinions. Time is yours.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, the adjudicator, the timekeeper, the opponents, as well as the audiences. My name is Stephanie from the government team as the third speaker, and we believe here with the motion that even distribution access to better quality of internet networks throughout Indonesia is more needed than the distribution of free quotas. And furthermore, your second speaker already stated that internet are already spread through around Indonesia. Let us ask you what. Based on what can you say that? Because Cominfo already state that 12,548 villages have not been received any internet. And you were talking about Indonesia, right? Not only those big cities with my second speaker already mentioned. Okay, take a look at what Cominfo already said that I mentioned before. 12,588 villages that have not received an internet networks or signal. Imagine how they can execute their PJJ or their long distance learning period program. How can they access the internet? Furthermore, the free quotas without the internet are worthless in this situation. And it aligns with, yes?
I'm sorry, but you forget to point out that we, in this current situation, like there is a lot of different background parents of a student. Thank you.
Thank you. You remind me of another thing, because you already mentioned that the parents also need to buy the quotas, right? You already said that in your part. Okay, let me rebuke that, because you said the parents also need the internet, but the free quotas are only from the Kemendikbud are only for students, and therefore if you're talking about the economy, what about for the quotas itself? For the parents, they can buy quotas, yeah, if they eliminate the budget for their children's quotas. I get your point. But what if there's no internet on their house, on their area? It's useless at all. It's worthless. And furthermore, Indonesia is, looking up for the quota pendidikan based on tirto.id. There are many applications that are banned to access in these quotas. But how about those applications that we need to access for our tasks? Like, for example, Instagram, TikTok. Based on tirto.id, those applications are banned for this quota using. But we have admitted, right? We have assignments or tasks to make videos, to make poster, to make anything story and publish it on our social media, on our Instagram or TikTok. And you are always saying that quotas from the Kemendikbud is already beneficial enough. We guess not. And furthermore, if you were saying about the dropout because the other reasons, we're talking about the free quotas from Kemendikbud. Not every provider can support to open or access YouTube with those free quotas. For example, I'm using Indosat, and Indosat cannot provide me to open up to access or to watch YouTube with that free quotas from Kemendikbud. And imagine about the asynchronous program from our lecturer to watch their lesson in the YouTube. How can I access that? I might get drop out with that. So we believe that just the free quotas is not beneficial enough. And talking furthermore about the motion about the quality of internet, we're talking about without the better quality internet access, many government events or programs are having struggle. You might think it is always about the students itself. It's only about the college, the education, but we're looking at our future of Indonesia. For example, the Seleksi Kompetisi Dasar or SKD of candidates for civil servants or what we call CPNS we're having problem these past few days. Why? Because we guess that we all know about the problem having by the IndiHome and Telkomsel these past few days, and our government are using that provider, and therefore, no, thank you. Let me finish my argument. For this time, the Seleksi Kompetisi Dasar having problem, and they need to be rescheduled. They need to be cancelled. Why? Because of this internet problem. Even Jakarta, in this big city, we're getting that problem. Imagine how about those villages that are mentioned by my second speaker before. Moving on, the CPNS itself is also our future, our Indonesia future, not only for the students. And you were bet it for just the free quotas rather than the internet. We strongly disagree with you. And furthermore, Indonesia is not only just a country for students. You already mentioned that you have parents, the student have parents, that those parents will need to buy internet, will buy quota itself, but without internet, they cannot do their work, they cannot do their life, their social life. Imagine for our parents who need to work from home, whether it's work from home or work from the office, we have to admit it that we need the internet. We need to send email because we cannot meet each other physically, maximize it. So we depended on the internet, and without internet, imagine you have your parents at home, cannot access the internet, and they need to send email, an urgent email, or even an urgent meeting on their work. Imagine that. Furthermore, therefore, we believe that others who say that free quotas are more important than the better quality internet is not really the point, because we have a solution from Ahmad in the event Tempo event called Industri Telekomunikasi Menyambut Normal Baru. The government, our Indonesia's government, continue to develop the internet signal for those villages and area, whether they are in good economic or not. Based on what you said, that they have an expenses for their children quotas and etc. But our governments can support that. our governments are thinking about that. They believe it's more important. And our Minister of Communication and Informatics also begin to build a 4G in the 3T area. So we believe that the government already considered it enough. And we believe that internet, the even distribution access to better quality of internet is more important and more needed than just a free quotas for students. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Government Whip, for the speech, and a little bit reminder to all teams, to the speakers, please do not reject POIs for 3 and more times. Thank you, as already reminded by the committee in the chat. And now we can hear the opinions from the opposition whip. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. For the time, my name is Gania. I'll be the third speaker. Our second speaker, government team, said that distribution of free quotas is useless, and you said that what would you do without a network? You said that how we can live without internet. But what if we have internet access but we don't have enough quotas? Should we wait to government to distribute the better internet quotas? But in fact, we know in this pandemic, quota is important for our learning period. Based on our motion today, even distribution access to be a better quality of internet network through Indonesia is more needed than the distribution of free quota during the current long distance learning period. But you didn't point out there's a lot of people that impact on this pandemic. Plus, they have to learning online, and absolutely they need quotas. In fact, on Tribune Techno data, if student or teacher have to buy internet quotas every day, it will certainly increase their burden. Moreover, many parents are affected by work problems due to the pandemic. Of course, with the help internet quotas from the government, it will really help reduce the burden of the on the community. Sorry, our speaker said that we're study with long distance learning period, but we still pay our full tuition fees. But at least if we paid for that, we still have free quotas to learning online. So in the end of this motion, our team contra absolutely disagree.
UI, please. UI, please.
Yes.
Okay, so I really want to believe with you, but how can I believe with you if you don't give us a solution? We need a solution here. Thank you.
A free quota is a solution. It's also a solution. Let me continue my speech. So in the end, we are from contra team absolutely to disagree with a motion even distribution access to better quality of internet network is more better than distribution free quotas. Because like our second speaker said, internet network and free quotas is sustainable things. And more important today is expedite and expand of the distribution free quotas. Okay, before I end my speech, I will end it with pantun in Indonesia language. Gunakan internet sehat secara sehat dan bersih. Cukup sekian dan terima kasih.
Okay, thank you, Opposition Whip, for the speech. And now it's time for reply speech for both teams. And a quick reminder, there is no POI in reply speech. So any of the team cannot ask for POI. And the time given is 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And we're gonna start with opposition reply speaker first. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you. As a reply speaker and best of our argument that describe that we disagree with the motion that sound even distribution access to be a better quality of internet network throughout Indonesia is more needed than the distribution of free quota during the current long distance learning period. Even though the affirmative team said that they strongly agree with the motion, we still construct our case as follow. Nowadays, during this pandemic, there's a lot of workers that fire. I must say that a lot of workers that fired by the company, so to buy quota isn't our main priority. Distribution of internet network access take longer time than we have to survive by now. The distribution of free quotas also really helps students to fulfill the online learning program and minimize their financial expense. Just like what I already told, internet and quotas is a continuous thing, and the distribution of a better quality of signal is needed too, but for now it wasn't our main priority. And the distribution of a free quotas also the solution, because in fact it only spread for 55% in Indonesia. Just like usual, the reason that we give not only arguments but also solution, we pay attention not only for today but also for the future of Indonesia. That's why I think our team is stronger and this motion shouldn't stand. Thank you.
Thank you, opposition side, for the reply speech. And now it's time for the government reply speaker to deliver their speech. The time is yours.
Okay, as a reply speech, I will give you guys one more reason why are we have to be believed with this motion. The pandemic has brought Indonesia to a situation where those not connected to the internet are facing a total exclusion, ladies and gentlemen, with a strict social and physical distancing measures in new place, new routines requiring accessing to the internet for the most service, and that is our top priority in this pandemic era. Reason for the divide are many: unaffordable device access, unaffordable internet access, content relevance access skills, or government-ordered internet shutdowns in developing countries. The condition is more serious. Thus, it becomes extremely important to explore the possibilities of ensuring connectivity. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our main priority here. Although those issues have been researched and discussed earlier, COVID-19 has brought about a situation where internet access seems to have become necessary for survival. Ladies and gentlemen, internet access seems to have become necessary for survival. And it is important to understand the far-reaching human rights impact of the internet shutdowns, which are exacerbated the current scenario. Shutdowns have deep political reasons, and in many cases, the consequences are indeterminate. Ladies and gentlemen, like I've said earlier, pembelajaran jarak jauh requires access to the internet, and we believe that is why we have to agree with our motion for today. We are going to have a lot of things if we have an internet access, and we have to remember that we're not living in the big cities. We live. Also, people in Indonesia, students in Indonesia, they're coming around villages in Indonesia, and we have to pay attention for them. We don't only pay attention for the people that live in the complacent access for the signal of internet. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to giving a reminder that even distribution access to a better quality of internet network throughout Indonesia is more needed, more important, and mandatory than the distribution of free quotas during the current long-distance learning. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we can use our logics here, how can you access an internet if you don't even have the signal? So that is why our top priority is to give the distribution access to the people in Indonesia. Every single place in Indonesia has a best quality to access. Like I've said earlier, the government can even consider to give a free Wi-Fi to support them pursuing their education. And people who are not only students, like a worker, like my third speaker mentioned before, that we will have those advantage if we have the signal, if we have the access to the internet, if we can providing them a very better quality of the internet access. For every people in Indonesia, we all know that they are depending on the internet access, not only for the students, the electorate, the worker, and so on. And that's our priority as a government. Like the opposition said, it's up for our Indonesia's future. Therefore, internet is more beneficial for this case. Future Indonesia, our young generation facing many struggles and disadvantage from the bad access of the quality of the signal itself. So yeah, if you guys wanted to give a free quota, we have to be put the signal access in the best signal access first before you guys can give the free quota, because we can use the simple logics here. Future Indonesia, our young generation facing many struggles and disadvantages from the bad access, and we as the government give the data, give the solution, and we are showing our responsibility to keep our priorities straight. We are care about every single students, every single citizens in Indonesia for our better future. And that is from us. Thank you.
Thank you, government side, for the reply speech, and that concludes today's debate. Thank you for both teams for the amazing performance. But before that, let's hear the comments from the adjudicator. To Mr. Sandro, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Marvel. Good afternoon, the finalists. Thank you for your performance. I think you already did great job. Here's some of my comments to the both of team. The first, our motion is even distribution access to a better quality of internet networks throughout Indonesia is more needed than the distribution of free quotas during the current long distance learning period. So I think there are two main point of this motion, that is the distribution access to a better quality of internet and also the quota relate to the long distance learning period. Well, I would like to give a comment for the first speaker of the government. The first speaker of government already told us about that during this pandemic area, there are a lot of aspects in Indonesia affected, and of course some like the lockdown, and it will affect, it also affect the communication things in Indonesia, especially for students to do their study. And you also give one strong question to the opposition team, that how could we use Zoom or another communication things, especially for students, if there is no internet access. And I think you also explained to us that the condition in Indonesia relate to the internet access. Indonesia is not only a big cities in Indonesia. I think that's good. And I would like to go to the first speaker of the opposition team. You also talk that because of the pandemic era, quota of internet is not the priority of most of parents, because of most of workers sent home because get fired from their company, and every parents need to fulfill their daily needed, that more important than quota itself. And you also said that from the Jawa Post, quota of internet make a better education, but unfortunately you didn't give us a real example about this kind of data, and you close your speech with the proverb in Indonesia. I think it make your speech become more confused, but thank you, you already did your great job. And the second speaker of government, you already give some strong rebuttal. There are a lot of things that you told us. The first is Indonesia is not only big cities, it's not only Jakarta, Bandung, or the other big cities in Indonesia. There are a lot of region in Indonesia still cannot access the internet itself. We have 34 provinces in Indonesia, and we need to focus to concentrate also in the other regions. And you also strengthening your point that some places cannot access internet itself. So what is the importance of free quota if they cannot access of internet itself? It will be useless, because in this globalization era there are a lot of things that students need to know about the information to elaborate their knowledge. And also you give data from tirto.id that the condition of village in Indonesia about relate to the internet itself. And you came with the strong statement. I mean that access of internet make life easier, especially of students. So we don't have a free quota if there is no internet access. Thank you. And for the second speaker of the opposition, you still giving definition about the motion. It is good, but I think it's not your role to giving a definition of the motion. And you said that internet already spread in all region in Indonesia, but you didn't have a strong data, I mean a strong reference about to support your opinions about that you said internet already spread in all region in Indonesia, because the second speaker of government said it clearly that we have 34 provinces, and there are a lot of region in Indonesia still cannot access the internet itself. And the second point is, you said that internet access is not our main priority. So why we use the free quota if internet access is not your main priority, especially for students? I know that you need to relate because there are so many parents and workers at home, like your first speaker or your teams already said. So internet access is not, I mean, free quota is not their main priority because many because it will raise their financial costs. And thank you for the second speaker of the opposition team. Well, I would like to go to the third speaker of the government team. I think you also did a great job because you because you explained us data and also gave us many example that happens in Indonesia during this pandemic era relate to the motion. First of all, you told us about the data from the Kominfo that there are a lot of region didn't have internet network in Indonesia, like your second speaker already said to us. And also you said that how can they access the long distance learning period because if there is no internet network. And also you give us the comparison of example that you already got a free quota from some provider, but it can access some of education files from the Kemendikbud itself, and you make it relate. And I think it will make it makes your speech become more stronger because of nowadays there are the basic I mean the first selection that like we call Japanese has a problem nowadays, and parents need to work with the internet access that relate to the first and second speaker of the opposition team, because how can people, I mean, how can parents pay the quota of the internet if the parent itself cannot work because of there is no internet access in their region? So you have a give strong rebuttal for the first and second speaker of the government house. Yes, government team, I mean. And also you give a solution related to data that in the future Kominfo will build some 4G system in all area in Indonesia, especially in 3T and in 3T area in Indonesia. It will help all students to access the internet of Indonesia, in Indonesia, I mean. And thank you for your good job. And the third speaker of the government house, you still strengthening your first and second speaker, the opposition team, I mean. You also told nowadays that during the pandemic era, free quota is needed by a lot of students in Indonesia, but unfortunately, like the POI, you didn't give us the real examples that why is free quota is needed by a lot of students in Indonesia, but there is no internet access in Indonesia. And you also give the data from Tribune. If students and teacher buy internet quota every day, it will raise their costs. Yes, it is true, but it will be more stronger if you give us the real example that happening in all region in Indonesia, like the government team. They compare one region to the other region like Jakarta, Cirebon, and the other region about internet access itself. And you said that free quota is solution, but you didn't elaborate your statement why we call it a solution, because we didn't have any examples. And you said you close your speech with pantun. I think the government team cannot rebut your last pantun, but it will make us a big question because you said the internet sehat. So it means that all region in Indonesia need to have a good quality of internet access. So I think you support the statement of the government house. But thank you, you already did a great job. That's all my comment, Marvel. Thank you for all of the finalists. You already did great job, and good luck for the result. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sandro, for the comments. And also thank you for being the adjudicator for the last 3-4 days. And also, I don't forget to thank you to the both teams, whether it's affirmative or negative opinions. You both did great job, and I hope you both get the best result from this debate. And the winner will be announced by the closing of this OIV UI 2021. And now, let's close this final match. Let's keep our spirits up, players, and see you